Hello, guys, and welcome to another stream on Worldwide F1. It's your host, Matt, back again, and I am joined by my wonderful co host, as always, Wayne Moulds. How are you doing, Wayne?
I'm good. But can't wait for a week and a bit and then Singapore. So just counting down the days. We've had some interesting news this week. Obviously, I know one of us on the panel is going to be ranting and raving, but we'll get into that. And then obviously there's more transfer target news for the drivers. What are quite interesting developments come out. So yeah, we've got quite a bit to go through today.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, it's good that in the F1 world, it's not busy. Sorry, it is busy. It is news thick and fast, so we are able to make content while there are no races. And obviously, I think now or this weekend would have been Sochi, but it's not,
Yeah.
obviously, but for obvious reasons. But they have fixed that on the track schedule, I believe, and we'll see what happens. But we'll get into it right now. Actually, before we do that, make sure everyone who is in the live comments right now, smash the like button. Try and get us to at least 10 likes before the end of this stream. I'd appreciate that very much. And to make sure you subscribe as well, because we are at 32 subscribers. Let's get us to 50. Come on, you can do it. There's two people in the live comment in watching the stream right now. Subscribe, like the video, and then we can get as many people on this channel as possible. And as you said, we'll submit your questions in the chat. Me and Wayne will answer them. What is your favourite track on the calendar? Monaco or no Monaco? Happy with that. And 3 US tracks. Is it too much? So Wayne, we'll start off, if I actually get this sharing now, because it wasn't working earlier when I tested it. Is that sharing? Yeah, it is. So we'll go to the nice Formula One website. So we have a total of, is it 24 tracks, isn't it now?
Yeah, 24 next year.
A record calendar for us in F1. Pre-season testing will take place in Bahrain on the 23rd to the 25th. So very interesting that it's not in Barcelona, but there you go. I'm sure they'll be doing Barcelona testing as well at some point, because I doubt it's just going to be one weekend of testing. And then we are in Bahrain for the opening race of the season once again on March the 5th, followed by Saudi Arabia on 2 weeks later, and then another 2 week break before we go to Australia for the third race of the season. Wayne, what do you think of? Obviously, that's kind of the same order that we had this season. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm not fussed with it. I think it's a good way of doing it because Bahrain is they test on there, so they've got their feet on the ground and not have to move too much. And then obviously the big race goes, and then they've got another 2 weeks, just like I said, Saudi Arabia. That's a difficult track, as we know from last 2 years. And then obviously they go to Australia when then they say the season begins because obviously Australia is normally the one that opens. So I don't mind it. It's a good. At least we're not going here, there, and everywhere. At least it isn't that. Obviously, in the fourth race is when the new one comes in.
Yes, well, new. I'd say new. It's a track that we've been to before. It hasn't been on the calendar as of, is it 3 or 4 years it's been off now?
2019 last time it was on.
So yeah, but it'll be 4 years by the time we get round to it. So obviously sticking in the Middle East Asian area, we have two more races before we move into a different area of the world. So we have the new track, newish track, as in China, Shanghai, followed by Azerbaijan in Baku. Wayne, happy to go back to China?
Oh, I'm happy China's come back because I think it's a lovely circuit. I think it's one market we needed to get back. It's either China or Malaysia in that area of the world. I know we've got Japan, but for me, that's another area that we needed. Obviously, there's links with India. We've had, and then North Korea we had as well. And then we were supposed to go to Vietnam, but obviously couldn't happen because obviously COVID and stuff, and now that's just disappeared. So that was a market that we did need to go into. So I'm glad we have done. As China's probably the viewers know if they've been watching us, is one of my dreaded tracks. I don't like it at all, and I like how they keep moving it, different dates, different times, trying to make it interesting for everyone. And now they've moved it even more further up. I just think it's a bit of a no-go area for us. I don't like the area, I don't like the venue, but I will wait to be proven wrong. Put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, we've already had our arguments on Baku and how good a track it is. If you guys do want to check that out, check out our F1 tier list video, which was a couple of videos ago in the summer break. So make sure you go check that out. After you've watched this one, of course. Yeah, I'm happy to go back to China. I always found it a good track, especially since it had a long enough straight that you'd be able to get plenty of overtakes. And I think I read when I was reading up some F1 fun facts that it is the track where we had the most overtakes in a F1 race in general. So it's always good to have that back on the calendar, especially with DRS helping that on the straight. And it is generally a good track, despite what controversies happen in China, but that doesn't stop us. The controversy does not stop F1 going to host a race there, as we see with Saudi Arabia already and many other countries. You just have to invade a country to stop us going there. But there you go. Obviously, moving into May, already 2 months into the race, only 2 months in, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 races, all nicely split apart. Actually, it's more when you get to June, July where it gets a bit hectic. We move into May, and Wayne's favourite track, and for me, just the Miami Dolphins or whatever it is, car park, Miami, on May the 7th, a bit later than before, and then followed by Imola on May the 21st, and then finishing off with a track that has been renewed for another 2 years, Monaco on May the 28th, where we would go back into Europe properly. Wayne, happy with, obviously we knew Miami and Imola would probably be on there, but obviously Monaco coming back for another 2 years. You happy with that, or are you disappointed?
See, the thing is, if it comes to the racing part, I'm disappointed because they need to do a lot to that track to make it entertaining again. And especially after this year's lovely, I don't know what even to call it this year. I don't know how to call it this year. It's just an absolute shambles of decisions. I just don't know. I'm in the history fact of it. Look, I'm a historian when it comes to F1. I do like my historian tracks, but at least I admit it that you can't always wait on them and with the cars we've got these days and have interest in racing. So, because if that was the case, there'd be a lot more tracks being F1. It's like Hockenheim, Nürburgring, is even Brands Hatch, for instance, sake. There's historic tracks out there that could easily be in Formula One, but it's no point because it won't be interesting racing compared to other tracks. And I think Monaco's in that slight bracket now where it needs a good send off and let it be, not keep on dragging it out. And people only go there just for the lifestyle of Monaco, and it shouldn't be better. It should be better racing.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone knows my thoughts on Monaco. I think it should not exist on the calendar. I don't care how much money it brings in, how many rich people go there. It's a track that I won't watch next. I'll watch the qualifying and I won't watch the race because I'm fed up of watching it. It's not a race. It's just follow the leader throughout 72 laps or whatever it is, in terms of laps 71, something like that. I'm fed up with watching it, so I'll pay attention to qualifying, and then I think Wayne will have to give you a solo stream for the race next year because I won't be doing it. But we do move on to the rest. Well, Europe. It's always the bit that confuses me with Formula One. But it always happens where we go into Europe for 3 or 4 races, in terms of Monaco, then Spain a week later, and then we have a 2 week break and go to Canada for some reason. Like for me, Wayne, wouldn't it be easier just to pull it next to Miami for Canada? I understand that Canada has to be in June or May because it needs the dry weather possible, driest possible time. But do you think Canada? Obviously, are you happy with again Spain, Canada, and Austria in a suitable gap in June, July?
I get your substance with it, but I can't. It's for me. It's Canada's always been like that. It's not like I've watched it and we've gone from, I don't know, like America to Canada or whatever. I've never seen that. It's always been Europe then to Canada. So for me, it's perfect. It's usual.
Yeah, I just think if they are going to start adding races, and obviously there has been already controversy with it being a 24 race, and there's rumours that they want to increase it to possibly 25, 26, and I've heard even some lesser known newspapers say it could go to a 27 race within 5 years. Wouldn't it make more sense to go by continent in terms of the races rather than these weird jump around sessions? Because obviously logistically, it's a bit of a hassle, and if people want to go into a different route environmentally, it's a bit of a hassle to go from Spain all the way to Canada just to go back to Australia up to Austria the next week.
Yeah, yeah. If you look at it logistically, it is a bit of a muddle, and they could sort it out. But in the fans in me, I wouldn't want to change it. But I can see the logistically reasons behind it. It makes more perfect sense if you did it with the Mexico, the Brazil, the American time of the year, but just have to wait and see. They might change it, and in future references, we don't know yet. This is just a rough etching for next year, and it could get changed. We've seen it before being changed, so
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is where it gets a bit more interesting, and there are some significant changes that we may want to talk about more in terms of dates than tracks. So, July the 9th, first week of July, is always UK Silverstone, always the year we look forward to, followed by 2 week break, again going to Hungary after Silverstone, always 2 tracks that you want to watch. And then rather than the international, well, I say the international break, I suppose when we talk about football, rather than the summer break being between Hungary and Belgium, it's actually between Belgium and Netherlands. So Belgium is now moved from the end of August to the end of July, which for me just is trying to aim for Belgium to be a dry track as possible rather than risking a bit of rain. Are you happy with Belgium being a month earlier and being almost before the summer break?
I am. I like what they did this year. Has made it better, but it's another track that I could see. Let it be. It's historic. Let it be. I know you're going to fight on that because I know how it is for you, but in this Formula One era, does it make interesting racing? Not always. Fortunately, that track's not always going to bring the interesting facts like we would like to watch.
I do think it. I always find it is obviously when it completely rains, then that doesn't help. I think for Belgium, I think it's just more the money aspect. I think the problem is it's in the middle of a forest, and you can't do a Silverstone and pack it out with 500,000 people over a race weekend. You can barely at Belgium, you could probably barely do 100,000, which is why I think they've put the new grandstand in. But I do think the investment they're trying to put into and the track change they're trying to make, I don't think they'd do that if they thought it was going to go in 1 to 2 years.
Mm,
I feel like behind the scenes they may be given a almost a vote of confidence that it'll be there in the next few years at least. But again, obviously with Zandvoort will be the track that we go to after the break. Again, logistically, for you? Does it make sense to have an international to have the summer break between two circuits which are right next to each other?
not really, but what do we? Oh, I just don't know why they did it. I'll be honest. It
For me,
made more.
it just baffles me considering it kind of worked out. If you're going to have 1 week between two races, Belgium and Netherlands is the one you want to do it, surely.
Yeah, and that's what. But like we said, we don't know the thought process behind it all. But it doesn't make any sense really if you look at it logistically and in fan sense as well. But let's wait and see what they do next. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm happy for Belgium and Zandvoort both to be there, but it's just a weird kind of aspect to have the gap in between that. But there you go. So that is the one race that is in August, August 27th, and then moving into September, we have three races in Italy, Singapore, and Japan. As well, usually happens a bit later, but obviously with Belgium moving ahead, it's kind of moved some of these tracks a bit earlier and later. You happy with Italy? Well, Monza, Singapore, and Suzuka in the calendar still.
Yeah, well, Suzuka, like we said before, I think that's another historic race that could easily say no. Let's put it to bed now. But I'm waiting for this year because I don't think this is the first time we've been to Japan for a while this year. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes and then go from there.
Yeah, I've always the thing I like about Japan. I think we have, as we said in the track tier list before, it's a difficult track to manage and to do. Sometimes it's a bit too difficult and maybe a bit, if you want to call the word unsafe when it rains. But we will see how it goes because obviously it's been a while since we've been in Japan for different reasons. So it'd be nice to see if they've made any sort of track improvements or any improvements around. Um, and it brings us obviously going to Singapore and Asia for a little bit more. It brings us to our final Asia slash Middle East race and a new entry to the Formula One calendar in Qatar. Obviously, there has been a lot of talk within football about human rights issues in Qatar. Obviously, that's not really been mentioned in the Formula One, partially because they're not afraid, really. I think to do that at all in Formula One. But are you happy to go to Qatar and figure out and see what it's like?
We've really been there.
Huh?
This is why I'm a good one on this channel because I remember these things.
Well,
We obviously
of course, we've been there, but go back again. That's what I mean.
go back in again and obviously it'd be interesting because the first wasn't the best race. It was a bit samey. They didn't have many obstacles to the track, like so. It will be interesting. It's more of a motorbike circuit, if I remember rightly, than a actual Formula One car. But they might have done some changes. We don't know. Obviously, they did sign a 10-year contract. Don't know why they didn't put it on this year. But obviously, they've got it on for next year onwards, I would presume. So it'd be interesting. We've already gone out and said our pieces with tracks, what we would like to go on Malaysia, for example. We would like to have seen that back, and obviously that hasn't. So it needs, for me, if it wants to be any good, it needs to be as good as Malaysia was to us to even think about keep racing it.
Yeah, I agree. I remember because my cousin loves MotoGP, and I think they have raced there before. And I remember when I asked him about Lusail, because obviously I haven't really seen like Qatar much before in terms of memory of it, but he did say it's a very MotoGP track. Oh, of course, they might have changed it, and with these sort of tracks, you have the ability to change it a bit more than some other tracks in the calendar. So maybe they might have made some improvements to it, made it a bit more difficult, maybe a bit more exciting, and then we can really judge it against some of the better tracks in and around that area. But we'll see. Obviously, it's a long contract, so it's here to stay, whatever happens. Followed by the second US track on the calendar, the official USA track, the Circuit of the Americas in Austin. And then Mexico City after, as it usually has been, followed by Brazil. We'll talk about Brazil after, but USA, Mexico, happy with them tracks?
Yeah, I'm happy. It's always my time of year 'cause it's my birthday that time of year, so I always get a good time because it's always later on the daytime, so I get to just chill on my birthday watching the Grand Prix. So it's all good. So I'm always enjoying that.
Well, we'll make sure we'll say happy birthday to you when it comes around this year. I do agree. I think out of all the US tracks, obviously we haven't seen the new one coming up next year, but I do like Austin. I think it's a very good track. I'd like to keep it, um, and obviously we'll have the discussion about whether three tracks in America is too many compared to some don't even get one. But we'll discuss that in a minute when we talk about the new track in America. But I think out of all of them, if there was one to keep, so far for me it'd be Austin because I think I don't want the car park, and Austin provides a very good weekend in terms of racing. And the Texas fans are usually quite good as well, which is nice to see. And then Mexico City, it's a great track. Don't take it off the calendar anytime soon. Keep it on there. Long term contract, please. There you go. Going into November, we have three races before the end of the season. With Brazil on November the 5th, followed by the new track coming in of Las Vegas, which is subject to FIA circuit homologation. I do not know what that means. I assume that means depending on how the track is, and I assume that's why they've put it that late in the calendar. But God knows. If anyone in the comments does know what that word means, then let us know what that means. So we have Las Vegas on November the 18th, and then the finale in the usual Abu Dhabi Yas Marine Circuit on November the 26th. Wayne, you happy with that? First of all, you happy with them three races being the final three?
Yeah, obviously Brazil is another one of those historic race circuits. Do we want to keep? Do we? Don't we? Um, I'm intrigued with Las Vegas. I was glad it's near the end of the day of this calendar year because I said to you I wouldn't mind it as the last race of the year. Um, with Abu Dhabi, I do like Abu Dhabi. I've always got one of those. Um, Will I miss it? No. But do I like it? Yes. So,
Yeah,
but
it's not one that I would vehemently want to get rid of, but it's not one that if it was axed from the calendar that I would fight too much either.
yeah.
But Las Vegas obviously is the big one that we'll see if it's good enough. It does seem more interesting than Miami, but for me, that's not really that hard. As long as it doesn't have a fake marina, then it's an improvement. Um, but do you think it'll be a good track?
I'm not sure. There's not even an inkling of how it's going to look yet. I've been looking for it on everywhere else. There's no inkling. So when I see there's an inkling and see where it looks like, then I'll have my judgment. But at the moment, I've got no idea.
Yeah, I think the idea of it and the marketing idea sounds absolutely brilliant. Of course, who would not want to race down the strip of Las Vegas? But I just feel like this could be a track that is there to bring the money in and not a track for the racers. But that could just me being very stereotypical about Las Vegas, so I could be completely wrong. which does bring us to the subject. Obviously, there are tracks that we've mentioned: South Africa, Malaysia, Germany, who have multiple very good F1 tracks potentially. Britain, who also have multiple F1 tracks that potentially could be used. Um, but it's actually USA that get not one, not two, but three tracks. Does it settle right for you that America get three tracks, or do you think it should be one at the most two?
I have got no qualms with it. Um, I get it why, because the United States is a big country and it's not like they're all close by circuits. One's in Texas, so that's on the south on down. Then you got Miami, what is Florida area, and then you got Las Vegas, where it's more up to the top. So I've got no issues with it. I think they're doing it's a way of money, getting the money in, and getting the fans in America where it is growing in Formula One in America. And let's be honest, Formula One is in America. We're fighting with IndyCar and NASCAR, and they're two very high up there when it comes to motorsports, and they do sell very well, and they do a lot of money when it comes to TV rights, to merchandises, to sponsorships. So that's why they're doing it. I can see that reasons, and I think it is a good reason to do it. I think you find certain countries, and I agree with you, there's certain countries I don't think the team deserves F1, and there's certain countries that does deserve it. And unfortunately, there's countries like South Africa, Germany, Malaysia, the tracks there deserve their opportunity again. And there's tracks like Azerbaijan, Monaco, Spain that don't. And that, unfortunately, yeah, we've got to grip our teeth and wait and see. But I don't think America's a problem right now.
Yeah, I understand your point. I think personally, I think I would be happy if it was just say Las Vegas is a success. If it was just Las Vegas or and Texas, because I think they are. I understand that America's a big country, but they're still, while Las Vegas is a bit further up, they're all still part of that southern part of the southern half of the country. So it's not like it's one's in New York, one's in California, and one's in Florida, which are all completely different parts. They are still in America terms are relatively close.
Right. Las Vegas is in California.
So that's
Right.
south. Florida's
Right.
south, and so is Texas.
No. Uh, so right, let's get it right. Las Vegas in California. Right. So that's on the California area, right? On the edge. You
Yes,
go, Texas is where Mexico is down there. And you got Florida, what's even more further down on the side.
but they're still. If you was to split America in half, it's still they're all in far down in the southern half. They're all set in terms of east to west. They are very separate. I understand that, but what can we have? What about New York? Because North America, the north side of America, is not getting anything.
You get
So
Walker's Glen if you want to go up there, but you have got Canada as well, so you can't really say a lot there. Because
yeah,
in cause New York, you can literally go over the border and you're there. So not like it's too
Them
far.
New Yorkers want to track local to them.
Whenever they want something local, we've got Walker's Glen. It's a lovely track.
Yeah, but yeah, I just think where you've got, I understand obviously you've got other races that you'd get rid of first, such as Monaco. Obviously, as I've mentioned, Spain, as you mentioned. Glad finally Paul Ricard is gone. That's one that I'm happy it's gone. Um, but there's still others. You've got Turkey, you've got Malaysia, you've got South Africa, you've got any one of the German tracks, and I think if any country is deserving of more than one track, it's Germany because Germany have got so many good tracks. But it is
How
what it
long do
is.
they have two tracks though in the season?
Huh?
How long was they having two tracks in the season? They was having it for years. They had their time doing that.
Yeah, but I think they need it. It's criminal not to have at least one German track.
Yeah, I agree with you. It should be one, but two, I think they've had their chance. But one, I think is agreeable. I think Hockenheim or Nuremberg could be easy enough. What's one for them?
I mean, for me, if I was to do it, I would remove Miami, keep Las Vegas and Texas, and then go and then put South Africa in. So we're actually going to every continent.
Mhm.
But
I can't disagree with that. That is a for once in your lifetime, actually a sound idea.
and we can get rid of Monaco, and we can put Turkey in. Potentially, if Qatar fails, get rid of Qatar, put Malaysia in, and then you've got half a sound track, half a sound calendar.
Just get rid of Azerbaijan, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I can lose Azerbaijan as long as I get keep Belgium,
Okay.
and then we can add a German track instead of Azerbaijan.
Do you know what countries we haven't? And I've been thinking about it. You're talking about each continent, and I agree with you. But why have we not gone to Sweden or Denmark or Finland or Norway?
Yeah, Nordic countries have been let down massively because you have even like you don't go Denmark, you could go Denmark, but
Exactly.
the closest we go to them is Netherlands,
And you forgot,
and that's only just happened.
and you think of the drivers, Kimi Räikkönen, Miki Häkkinen,
Yeah,
and it
that's,
probably there's Kevin Magnussen. There's other drivers there that are in that area.
yeah. I mean, I think it is it potentially a thing that it's not the money's not there. That's the problem.
Maybe.
Because I can tell you right now, and that we will both agree with this probably. The reason why there's so many American tracks is because it's American owners and the money.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, if money if money wasn't a factor and it was pure racing, Miami wouldn't be on there.
I agree with you. Probably you're right. But like I said,
And
if you look at the sponsorship,
I don't even think Las Vegas would be considered that much.
obviously I don't know, but I said, the sponsorships is unreal in America when it comes to a motorsport in general. So I get why it's such a big thing over there.
Yeah, I mean, and I completely understand. I'm not saying I don't understand it all, but I just think it's a bit at times I don't know silly um, how money is too much signified over legitimate racing tracks that are fantastic and would bring in viewership anyway because they're fantastic racing tracks. And sometimes you don't want to go too far for the money because you lose the traditional racing fan aspect. And people who are watching IndyCar, who have the choice between IndyCar, NASCAR, or F1, if the racetracks aren't very good and it's just about the money, they're still going to watch IndyCar, NASCAR.
Yeah,
If they're better racing tracks. So that's what we've got to make sure we have that racing heritage and balance it up with the money.
I agree. I agree. There is a common fault that F1 is making NASCAR and IndyCar change their circuits and more than they used to. Um, and you see that they literally are getting pushed like to move on with the 21st century now. So yeah, it's an interesting dynamic at the moment.
Yeah, definitely think it's an interesting dynamic. So it's just getting the balance right. That's the honest thing that we need to sort out. So big up to some of the comment section, Alfred. Big up, lads. Sonola new contract year. Obviously, Alfred is a big Sonola fan, of course. We will get into that in a little bit. Hashim Niaz, lifetime Chelsea fan 16. Hi, big up to you too. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you smash the like button. And big up to Pavan. Thank you for joining and smashing the like button. Hope you are enjoying the stream. So, as Alfred kindly suggested, we do have F1 news and some confirmed news rather than just rumours of contracts and drivers and all that stuff. Um, Wayne, do you want to take it away?
As I'm the driver market person, um, Tsunoda has officially signed a contract for 2023 for AlphaTauri. There was rumours going about him and his future, as this was his last season without signing the contract. So he's obviously signed a new one for next year. See how he gets on. He's so far, I believe it's a good decision. I believe he's a talent that I don't want to lose out of F1. He's got a good. He's had a bit of mistakes first 2 years, but majority of the time he's hard worker and he doesn't give an inch to other teams. He's he's got that aggression in him when it comes to overtaking as well. He's a very enjoyable driver to watch. Um, but going into that, obviously, Snowden's really big news. Obviously, we'll get Matt's point of view about that in a minute. But going on that, the rumours are because he signed his contract, even though Gasly signed earlier in the year, that Gasly might be the one being replaced because he might be going to Alpine. Now, the rumor is what's just come out the last couple of weeks. What I know is upset Matt and has upset Sadiq as their Mercedes fans is Nick De Vries might be going over to race for AlphaTauri and leave the Mercedes group. Now, that is a big call for Mercedes if that's the case, because like Matt will suggest, I think he was the one they wanted to replace Russell with. Not Russell, sorry, Hamilton with. So it was him and Russell going on further. It was and he has had impressive start to his F1 career. Last race for Williams when he filled in for Albon. So it'd be interesting. There's a dynamic there. There's a few other breaking news as well, but I will get Matt's view of the AlphaTauri news, and then I will break you the following news, what we haven't even wrote in the comments yet, because I've got loads to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that Snowden's got a new contract. I think while he is someone that is bringing a big sponsorship into F1 from his country of Japan, and he's very big there. He's not like a Stroll, he's not like a Latifi who is there and doesn't deserve to be there. I think he's always been a very hard driver to pass. The Alpha Tauris are built a bit like that anyway, but he's always resolute. I hate it when I see Tsunoda, Hamilton's got to take over Tsunoda or George Russell or anyone, because it's always made difficult. And again, he's very aggressive. He's behind you as well. So you don't want him behind you for too long. So I actually think a very good deal for AlphaTauri to have him on for a bit longer to see how he does and how he improves. Because obviously he does make mistakes, but so does every F1 rookie in their first years. Everyone will make mistakes. No one's perfect. So I'm happy that he's signed a new contract with AlphaTauri. In terms of the whole Gasly Nick De Vries, obviously I would be upset. I mean, we still have fantastic drivers in the round. We have the goat already in our Formula One car, and a very good young driver in George Russell. So I wouldn't lose sleep over losing Nick De Vries. But I would be disappointed if he does decide to move to AlphaTauri, which is, let's be honest, a Red Bull B team, instead of going into, say, a Williams or another car that potentially is not necessarily a direct rivals feeder team. But but we'll have to see what happens because obviously rumours change every week. It could be Ocon in terms of that Alpine drama that it could change every 5 minutes. It'd be God knows who could go there, and AlphaTauri maybe if Gasly doesn't go to Alpine, I can't see AlphaTauri getting rid of Gasly without him going somewhere because that would just mean paying out a contract they've just signed him onto. So I think Gasly will only leave if there's a place for him somewhere else already. So it depends on Alpine to sort themselves out. So Alpine, please sort yourselves out so we can figure out what's going on with certain drivers. But yeah, if Nick Vries goes, I'm disappointed, but I don't mind because he's an F1 anyway, and that's all that matters at the end of the day.
I've got some news to tell you. I've kept a little secret from you for a while because I don't know if you were known it or not, but I thought I'll break it on here because I know it'll make you smile. But first off, Alex Albon, glad you're doing better. I'm glad it all went well. It looks like you'll be back in for Singapore. What I'm glad to see. Upset for Nick de Vries, but I am glad to see you back. But the news that I was going to keep quiet, and I'm going to break it now. Aston Martin are now got their own driver lineup, reserves and stuff happening for the first time. They just signed Flippy Dragovic, who just won the title Formula 2. Now, he's very highly rated. There's a lot of teams was fighting to sign him up. Aston Martin has done it. And there's rumours about him joining the team with Alonso next year instead of Stroll. He's been going to get testing the end of the year to check if he's able fit and well to do it. But they're very confident that he could come in next year as a reserve driver at least, but it could be a full-time seat with Fernando Alonso next season.
I would love that. I struggle to believe it because it's Daddy's company. Stroll was driving for Daddy, so Daddy is not going to sack his son. I do think he'll be a reserve driver. I did see that news, but I don't want to. I'm keeping my calm. I'm smiling, but I'm keeping my calm until it actually happens. When it happens, you're going to see me celebrating, running down the street with my top off because I can't wait for Stroll to get out of F1. Freaking mega mind, looks like a villain, screams down the mic, get out, get out. You're not a driver. You're not an F1 driver. You barely drive a normal car, right? Let alone an F1 car. So just get out and let other drivers do their thing.
Yeah, I thought you might enjoy that news. Obviously, with the Filipe Dragovic, I always say his name wrong. I do apologise. Congratulations on Formula 2 win. Well deserved. He's had a brilliant season. It's been it's been a good season for Formula 2. There's been controversy with Yuri Vips. There's been some drivers that have done well, some drivers that haven't done well. I think there's another driver. I think I would love to see in F1 next year if he gets the opportunity, and that's Logan Sargent. I wouldn't mind seeing him with the Williams team next year if Nick de Vries don't go there, I think he's got a very big potential. American. He's got a lot of backing himself, so it could be a win-win situation. Williams has really got him in as one of the drivers, reserve drivers. There's a lot of potentials in there. There's Freddie Vestry, who are from Mercedes, and then obviously you got other drivers coming up like Jack Doohan and others that have been very high rated as well. I'm not sure if the Formula 3 is finished yet. I think Victor Martin's won it, if I remember rightly. So congratulations to him. So that's them as well. I know the women's series are still going to be racing this weekend for Singapore, but Jamie Chadwick, I think, is going to be winning that. So congratulations to her. I know there's a lot of talk about women drivers getting the opportunity in Formula One, maybe in future references. I hope that could happen. I hope they get more opportunities because I think it should be an equal sport. I don't think it should be just the men's. I think everyone should be equal in it. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of ifs and buts and everything going in Formula One at the moment with all the changes. So it's interesting to see what happens. Obviously, I'm enjoying the transfer market with it. I call it transfer market, the driver market, especially with Alpine. They're just making it up. They've had supposed to be 13 or more drivers applying for the opportunity to drive with Ocon, but I don't see that personally. I don't see that many.
So
But
should I put my application in now?
no,
I think I might have a chance.
no, you're going to be behind Mazepin.
Oh, you didn't say behind Stroll, so I don't mind that.
No, Stroll is even behind further up. The same as the Latifi. You'll be literally at the
Mm,
back.
no, I think Mazepin's at least got some sort of technique. Stroll is useless. But
Um,
anyway, congratulations to Martins and Dragovic for winning the F2 and F3 respectively. Big up to anyone that does get enough. Obviously, Wayne follows the transfer driver market a bit more forcefully than I do. I find I wait till they get into the car and then see. And then I watch the F1, F2, F3 to see who is good, but I just wait until they get into the F1 car. I have enough stress with football transfers, let alone driver market transfers. And Alpine, I think, are doing a Chelsea at the moment in terms of plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, N, O, P. I think for Alpine, they're going to have to invent a new letter soon. It's the race of who has to invent a new letter. Is it Ferrari's driver strategy, or is it Alpine's driver market? Because they're both dangerously low in that alphabet table.
no, I'm not going to say what. The thing
Because you
is,
know I'm
what makes
right. Because you know I'm right.
I know you're right. Is the thing is what makes me laugh is there's drivers out there that I think deserve opportunities in F1 and they've had to go elsewhere to get their opportunities, and that's like Callum Ilott,
Yeah,
Christian Lundgaard.
and this is just talking F1 stage. You've still got people outside who can't get licenses in F1 because they drive in certain other sports, and that's
Yeah,
ridiculous. We won't get into that because Wayne won't be happy with that. But
no, because as you probably guessed, guys, I do like my NASCAR, I do like my IndyCar, so it's a big thing for me. But while I'm thinking about it, I want to say congratulations to Kimi Raikkonen. He actually had a race for NASCAR at Watkins Glen, believe it or not, and did really well. And I applaud him. And he supposed to be went in there and he very impressed the team he was waiting for and the drivers around him. And he went and done really well. But not only that, on the same weekend, two other drivers used to race in F1, Mike Rockenfeller, an old name, and Daniel Kvyat as well.
oh, Daniel Kvyat, that's a well. He obviously had the trouble. He was close to coming back to F1, weren't he? Before the whole Russia thing went off.
He was there's links for him to come back to he was Alpine's reserve driver.
Yeah. So let's fast forward. This Alpine thing wouldn't have happened if Kvyat was allowed to come. Because I think they probably would have judged Kvyat.
Yeah, well, they could have done. But I think they've got better
Well, obviously,
drivers out
I
there.
don't, that can't happen now, obviously, because of certain situations. But it is what it is.
But yeah, there's a lot going on, and obviously keep your ears and open. If you like your F1, keep your ears and open for it. The drivers are here, there, and everywhere driving something. So keep your ears open and have a look and enjoy it. It's enjoyable for me to look at and watch. I like my load of sports. Like my one come up this weekend. Is it this weekend? is British touring cars. What is another thing of mine? So I'll be looking forward to watching that. So
Yeah. So basically, what Wayne is saying is he has too much time on his hands.
basically,
I would love to have time on my hands to watch everything, but I already have too many sports
no,
and
you
work.
don't.
I have work, social life, football, rugby, boxing, F1. I can't fit any more in.
Well, I'm not going to say nothing to that because I've got.
Obviously, the football could be going out the window if the way they're run as a club. But this is obviously a F1 channel, so we're not going to get into football much.
No.
Um, but yeah, Wayne, is there anything else you wanted to add before we end the stream at all?
If you haven't done so, guys, smash that like button, share it about. Like I said, appreciate all the support and love we get from everyone. And if you haven't done so, go to our sister channel, Well by Chelsea. Go and subscribe there. Go and support that channel with Steak. We'll obviously be on there when we are. So it'd be really grateful and thank you for all your support.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 5 likes so far. There's definitely been more than 5 people that have tuned into this channel. There was 4, just down to 3. So I am watching the live meter of who's in there. So make sure you smash the like button. Even if you smash the like button and leave, still does us a lot of joy because it gets more people into the channel, recommends us to more people. I've just seen it pop up to 4. So whoever's come in, smash the like button, please. Get us to 10 likes before the end of the stream. If not before the end of the day, and then road to 50 subscribers is on the way. We have just had another subscriber within this time, so thank you to whoever subscribed in the last 52 minutes. Wayne, thank you for coming on for what is another great F1 stream. Obviously, I don't think we'll do another stream before the next race, but if we do, if something breaking news comes out, then we will be back on immediately to cover that for you guys. Wayne, so thank you for coming on.
Yeah, you're welcome always, and appreciate everyone on the channel. Obviously, what Matt, even though it's hard to deal with sometimes, I appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone in the comments.
Yes, thank you, Wayne, for coming on, and thank you all you guys in the comments for joining us in the stream. One more reminder to smash the like button, subscribe to Worldwide F1. We have confidently the best countdown on the channel, which I would. Still gets me gassed every time. Name a channel with a better intro. I dare you. So please smash the like button for this channel, subscribe, and join us next time for the stream. This is Matt. This is Wayne signing out. Get to hear the intro again.